My name is Brenda Nabe Martin. I am a proud Métis woman. I love my heritage, and today I want to talk about being a Métis woman in the trying times of COVID. I know that COVID is real. We all struggle. But on the positive note for me, it has really given me the opportunity to bring out the things that I learned growing up as a Métis girl. I grew up living with my grandparents and my extended family, which did all the things that Métis people do in their culture. It's a way of living. I love to cook, I love to hunt, I love picking berries. But during COVID, I think one of the main things is that I've really discovered that being set back and not being able to go out and do things where I can be shopping or out sightseeing, it's brought me back to my home base and really to my roots, where I'm looking back and saying, oh, I know this, I've learned this, I really don't need to get out anywhere away from my home to make myself happy, to be so busy. I'm so busy with things that I've got to do at home for other people, for my family. Quite often I'll do some baking or some sewing, and I drop it off in a safe manner to other people that are in need. And that gives my heart happiness. Just being able to share and to teach my kids, teach my children. I've been very lucky to be gifted with 4 children, which I pray for daily. I pray for everybody, which is another thing that I learned growing up too, that our Creator, God, is a part of us. And giving thanks to Him is one of the great blessings that I learned from my family. I've joined groups through social media where there's no contact, because it's there again on the computer, where we share our activities that we are doing, or we share our language. One of the things that our language is, it's called Métis, and it's a lost language, but it's making a comeback, as well as being happy and proud of being the Métis people that we are, and sharing that culture, that way of life. I have many friends that don't even know, how do you pick berries, or what do you do with them when you pick them? Well, I have got blueberries in my freezer right now that I've taken out, cooked up, and shared them with others. My children come over and they love it. One of them said to her dad, she said, "Dad, you don't have to buy jam in the store. You know that Nana will make it, and it's better." So those kinds of things are so happy to my heart to hear them, that they are actually learning from experience of what I'm doing, even though I don't realize that I'm always teaching them. As I learned from my parents, I hunted, I trapped when I was just maybe 8 years old. I started trapping, and I remember now looking back thinking, oh, when I can get out of here, I hate skinning. I had a little trap line where I used to trap weasels, and they stunk so bad. But now that experience, when I'm out and about, I see tracks in the snow, and it's like, I got to stop and look at this. Or going for a drive, I spotted a white owl the other day, and it was just amazing. Or another owl or bird nest, those kinds of things that I believe are installed from me from when I grew up with the Métis heritage that I have. My grandfather, he never did drive a car. He did drive a motorcycle, though, although I never did see that. I remember him having horses and using horses. But he walked and he picked berries. He hunted, he fished. I have a brother in Manitoba that is still hunting and trapping and feeding others in his neighborhood. The elders that are there that can no longer go out and do their own hunting and harvesting, he helps them which is another thing that we have inherited through our heritage and passed on through generations. He recently actually was called to do some trapping because the town that he's in was being invaded with some wild coyotes. And he's a trapper, so I mean, for him, that was like, yes, I'll go and do that. So he was helping the community who were in fear of these animals, but yet it's something that he loves to do. It's been a tradition, and it's more than a hobby. It's part of who we are. And the fur lines, you know, they carry on. Many people they wear furs, but they don't really know where they come from, or, you know, how people actually can catch them. Ice fishing. We were ice fishing yesterday, actually, and I was talking to some friends, and they had never, ever been ice fishing before. They've lived in Canada all their lives, in northern Canada, near Warman. And I mean, there's ice every winter here, but yet they had no idea that you drill a hole in the ice and you bait up a hook and set it down there, or you set nets out. Not everybody can set nets, mind you, and catch fish like that. No idea at all. You go to the supermarket and buy fish? No. I've never bought fish in the store. I buy things that I would never make on my own to try them, but not anything that I can harvest or prepare on my own. Music is another thing. When I'm at home, if I'm feeling kind of down, I'll go and I'll search up some music. Fiddling music is one of the things that we grew up on. And I mean, if you want to pick me up in the daytime and you're feeling dragged out, you just put on some fiddling music, and I tell you, you got your toes tapping, and pretty soon you're looking for something to do. Keep yourself busy, keep yourself occupied, and your mind will always let yourself focus on some of the positive things that you can still do, even though we are living during some COVID days, which are difficult for all of us. There's always a way to deal with new things. My husband actually is very, very busy right now in a workshop in the garage. He's created a place where he's building birdhouses, and and I'm painting them. And my granddaughter comes over whenever she can, and we drop them off. She does the painting, and we pick them up, or the other kids pick them up. So there's always so many things that you can do with your families and still be in contact and feel good about sharing and learning these kinds of things. I do a lot of reading. I like to read about my heritage and learn about my families. There's a site that I'm now on that is a research project that's being headed by a man that's from the place that I was born at, which is Boggy Creek, Manitoba. And it's wonderful because I look back at these pictures and I see how they were dressed and how they lived, and the log houses. I was born in a log house that my grandfather built, my grandmother, and I was born in their house, lived there with them until they moved from that house. So when I tell these stories to some of the kids or even adults, they think, oh my gosh, like, how old are you? Like, that had to be really olden days. It really wasn't that long ago. It's just that we aren't aware of what's going on in our world. COVID has given us the time to stop and reflect on our lives, bring you to the roots that you really are. And things aren't not as bad as sometimes we think they may be. Right now, when I left home, I was making some bread that I will take to a friend who's just came home from the hospital. Things like that. There's people that are always in need. And while I'm capable, I want to be helpful. Food is a big, big thing in the Métis people. We always feed people when they come to visit. There's always food on the table, and usually some to take home too. I do a lot of canning, gardening. My husband is a great gardener. I hate pulling weeds. I don't think that's part of my heritage. But he gets out there and he pulls the weeds and hauls in the veggies, and I do the canning and the preparing. I do go and help him harvest them too. But even that, like I do lots of canning. My daughter does canning. She's now starting to give the stuff away too. So things that I'm really proud that I have learned that my children are learning and my grandchildren, things that we take for granted over the years as I watched somebody bake. Recently, I heard my daughter telling my daughter-in-law, geez, I don't know, I'm trying to think what I was making. Oh, I was making some dressing and for chicken, and she said, oh, when I make that, it never turns out. And my daughter said, well, you have to watch to learn how to do it. I thought, wow, yes. So it's not all about, reading a recipe, which I didn't see recipes when my mom was cooking. She would be doing things and I would be watching or helping. And we learn by what we see. We learn by what we do. And by sharing and giving, it makes you feel so much better. It fills your heart, it fills your mind. You can go to bed and think, I feel good today. I did something really good today. Some of the other things that we do, this one's really hard for me during COVID, is we greet with hugs and kisses. That's a huge, huge thing in the Métis culture, in the Métis people. You hug, you kiss, and now with COVID, of course, we can't do that because of this virus and wear a mask, the expressions, but you can still laugh. We can still laugh, and I look at people now, I've learned to look at them with to see them differently with that mask on. I can see the smiles in their eyes or the sadness in their eyes instead of looking at the smile on their face or the sadness in their lips. So it's just a matter of adjusting to how you can deal with those situations. And I think that the more we try and the more that you think about it, you can see that in others. So my idea of COVID is focus on what you can do and not what you cannot do. And then you'll bloom. Just like these beads I have on this vest here. This was gifted to me just very recently by a very dear friend. Her husband passed away. He was also a very good friend, and it was gifted to him. And she brought it to me in a bag and said, I don't know, this is in really rough shape, but I thought you might like it. And I said, oh my gosh, I love it. I was like in tears because it's gorgeous. It shouldn't be sitting in a closet. So I proudly wore it today. It signifies the Métis culture, the work put into it, the love in each one of these beads, and getting a gift like this is so precious. So I'm very thankful for that. And not only thankful that it was gifted to me, but that it was taken care of, which means to me that my friend Elsie that gifted this to me knew that somebody put some hard work in here, hours. I can't even imagine how many hours. And it was well worn by her husband. It has some beading on the back that I'll show you a little bit later here. But she knew that it wasn't something just to be discarded or recycled in the pile of whatever you do with things that you no longer can use. She saved it knowing that somebody put their heart and soul into it. And I think that if we could look at things in that way, it will brighten our day as well as the others, somebody else in your life too. I'm wearing a Métis sash today. I have several Métis sashes. So every year, except for during the COVID here, my family, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, extended family, we meet at Back to Batosh Days. It's a wonderful place to meet. You meet many people there that could be related, or you see them there from year to year. And it's a gathering, which is a custom that Métis people love to do. And the laughter just rings through the air there. And the fiddling music, the dancing, it's so happy. It rains almost every year, but we just trudge through the rain and the mud and put a blanket on, or you see an elder that's shivering cold because they want to be out there enjoying it too, but they're wet. Give them a blanket and they just keep on going. It's a place that, of course, was a battleground, but it's a celebration of life. It's a celebration that we go to know that we can continue on being Métis people and continue sharing our heritage and learning about our past and looking into our future, looking for our future instead of always being stuck in the past is what I go and see there. I love it. I see the little children that are up dancing. They do sash making there. They do bannock making. Bannock, oh, get me started on bannock and jam. I've been making so much bannock. Bannock is a bread, of course, that's fast and easy. And if you get company and you look at your bread box or your buns and you think, oh, geez, I don't have anything really ready right now, you can whip up bannock in no time and guaranteed your company will not go away unfed or unhappy. They do those kinds of things back to Batosh right outside. It's intriguing to watch these elderly ladies and some of the men get in there down on their little on their hands and knees and mixing up their dough and getting their fire going and into that cast iron pan and all in a hurry. It's like wow. And it's yeah, when my husband and I first went there, we did a horseshoe tournament and just other things that bring people together, played the game of bones and dancing and the fiddle music, the singing. It's just so much fun, a lot of fun. And I think one of the words that I first shared maybe with my husband's family was the word that we call mama sheesh. Don't be mama sheesh. So my husband says that now. And that means don't be in a rush. Don't do it half. I don't think I could say that. But yeah, so that's also a way of life with the Métis. It's not rushing through everything. It's like take time to look at what you're doing. Take time to share. And I think part of the hugging and being close-knit families and extended families are all part of what brought us to be who we are. I know that. And I just hope that my children will carry on to love who they are and pass that on to their families, to their generations. And just, never be ashamed of who you are. We are all created to be people here on earth that have always got something to share, whether we are in need or whether we are giving. I've definitely been in need. I mean, who hasn't been? And when you receive, you give. And even if you don't receive, give, and you will want to be a giver. It's just a great circle of life, a great circle of life. I'm very, very gifted to have had extended family that cared for me. Like I said before, I was born in a little log cabin out in Manitoba. My grandfather built it, and I'm sure that his extended family helped him build it. I grew up with my brothers who are biologically not my brothers, but in my heart, they are my brothers. I have many aunts and uncles that have all shared that culture with. And it's like when I get together with them, as soon as I walk into the room of wherever they might be, there's a different kind of connection. We have a connection of, oh, you're my person. It's very hard to explain. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that you have in your heart, and you can have that feeling whether you're blood related or not. It's our culture to do that and to share, which I love. I love being who I am. I love being a Métis woman, and I think that there's many other cultures that are love or should love who they are and what they do too. It's just that everybody has a different way of showing it. Some of the other things that we like to do is we travel, and when we travel, we'll stop at extended families' places and stay overnight. And it used to always be a term, we camp. We never went and come over for to stay overnight. We would say we're going to camp at so and so's house or so and so's house. And I was corrected a few times about that. You're going to camp. It's cold in the wintertime. Well, I'm camping at my brother's. Well, doesn't he have room for you to stay with him? Yeah. Oh, you mean you're going to sleep over there? You're going to sleep at his house? Yes, I'm going to sleep at his house, in his house. So you're not camping. No, I'm not really camping. Like, I'm not going in a tent or a camp or a campground. It was something that was in our heritage, the way we were taught. When you went to somebody's house, if you stayed overnight, you camped there. So it was a different kind of just a different term for expressing how you were staying overnight. But many little different things like that when I get back with my families, when they tell me that, I know exactly what they mean when they say they're going to come over. They're going to camp when they come through. I know that they're asking me if they can spend the night, or they're going to spend the night. When we go hunting, we share. So I'll also hear from family members, did we get some meat? Yes, we did. Or fishing, those kinds of things. And back in the community that I'm from, when I grew up there, I can remember people coming over and gifting things, and it wasn't even it's never expected. It just happens. It happens. It's the way of the life that the Métis live. And I think during COVID, those things have been very, very difficult, especially for the elderly and the people that don't have a means to get around. So it's so important to be able to go and share with them. So when I'm baking, cooking, whatever I might be doing, I always have that in my mind. Often my husband will say, wow, are you cooking for an army? No, I'm not cooking for an army, but we're going to put this in these containers and drop them off here and drop them off there. And it just feels so good when we're driving back home, and I know that I've taken this little goodie, and it doesn't even have to be anything great. Just any little, or even to drive by and wave at somebody. It's just showing you care, showing some love, and it makes you feel good too. Sometimes I put on a Métis sash in my house. I have several of them laying around there, but sometimes I'll put one on and I have the music on and I play the Red River Jig, which I can't do anymore. I love it. I actually have a cane right now, so sometimes I take my cane and I do the Red River Jig with my cane. I'm sure if the walls could talk, they'd be laughing at me. But it's so much fun. And my kids, I encourage them to learn the jig. In my recent place of employment, I'm now retired. I loved my job. Anyway, there were quite flags of every country in there, and of the nations in the area of the reserves. There was no Métis flag in that building. So for several years, I would ask my administrators, can we put a Métis flag in here? Yeah, we can get one. Nothing showed up. Again, I'd be quite persistent. right before I retired, uh, my administrator called me and he said, "Did you see what's up there?" So I went and I looked. I said, "A Métis flag. Yay, yes." So it was quite an accomplishment for me to see that there, even though it took a long time, but I was persistent. And to me, that meant a lot because it was a recognition of another nation of people. There are so many people here that are Métis and they don't know it. They don't realize it's it's more than it's more than just a race. It's a culture. It's a culture that we need to teach others and to continue on with. My place of employment, when I left from there, I actually went and I took a picture of that Métis flag hanging there because I was just so proud of it. And I remember telling one of the kids that was there when I took a picture, I said, "I just love that flag." And I was explaining how the symbol on it is of eternity because we're here for an eternity. We're here, our existence is going to go on. When I leave this earth and I'm gone, my children, my grandchildren, the next ones to come, the next generations are going to be here. So I feel it's very important to share and to keep active and just let your family know you love them and let them know what your culture is. If you hurt, share how you hurt. If you love, share how you love. It's part of that infinity. The My last few days of going to work, I was like, I just don't know. I think this is going to be kind of like an ending point for what's important to me because I really enjoyed going. I loved doing what I did. But now that I'm retired, I tell you, I don't have enough time to do, I don't even know how I went to work because I'm so busy. There is no time for me to even think about going to work. I had a call several days ago about coming to do some volunteering that I had done in the past. And I said, well, I can't this week. I'm doing this. And it's just amazing how busy you can be when you want to be. So I had fear because I had people tell me, what are you going to do when you retire? You know, you're too young to retire. Well, I thought, thank you. And you're going to be bored. I have nothing to do. And I'm like, wow, I have got more to do than I can even imagine. I go to bed at night and my mind is still going. It's still going. I'm going to do this tomorrow. I have these berries in the freezer. Oh, I have this mending there. It's just unlimited. It is unlimited. If you let your mind focus on the good things of what you can do, you will not be bored. You will be so busy, unbelievable. I really miss visiting with my friends. I made a point of this year, and I'm not into making resolutions when it's New Year's, but with the technology, the texting, it's so easy to text anybody. And I even have friends that are like in their 80s and they text me. I think that's pretty cool. But anyway, I thought I'm going to make a point in the new year that I am going to phone people. I want to hear their voice. I know I can text them at any time, but it's not the same. And I never really thought of that before. And I think that came to my mind because of COVID. Because now that there's COVID, I can't go and see them and hear their voice. I could always text them, which I had been doing. And then I started phoning people. And I mean, when they pick up that phone and you hear their voice, it's just like a big smile on my face. It's you. It's you. And it's rewarding. So my words during COVID here are like, remember who you are. Remember you're a good person. Share what you can, whether it be a heartache or something that you're very happy about. and focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. Life is so unpredictable. We didn't know we wouldn't be able to travel from one household to another. We had no idea. But this is what's happened. So all we can do is make the best of it and be safe, keep yourself healthy, and keep your friends and your family healthy, and do what you can for each other. I'm blessed by having the extended family I have that I can share on the phone. Make those phone calls, hear those voices. That'll make you happy. And if one doesn't make you happy on a phone call, phone somebody else. We have so many people we can phone. If you went through your list of how many people you text in a month, you would not have time to phone and chat with every one of them in a month. You'd have to be up for hours and hours talking. And that's, according to my brother, one of the things I'm not short on is the talking. But yeah, I'm very happy to be able to share my lifestyle, and hope that I can continue to grow in what I've learned and share what I've learned, and master the bannock making a little bit better. Like my elders, I have a very good friend, Helen, that is the best bannock maker. I call her the bannock lady, in fact. Quite some time ago, I had a rolling pin that I gifted to her because she's so good at it. I was like, wow. Yeah, like so fast. And I watched her a few times and I said, I got to watch you more than this because I still haven't got this down. But watch when you can, learn what you can, and be a happy person.